Word for August 2nd, 2026 is believe. I trust that my belief and my unbelief are enough. When Thomas says he can't believe in Jesus' resurrection unless he touches the wounds for himself, he's describing those moments when God's infinite, eternal good seems too hard to believe. Jesus' response is instructive. He doesn't criticize Thomas's doubt or demand blind faith. Instead, he offers exactly what Thomas needs, inviting him to touch the wounds and see for himself. Jesus meets him where he is, then invites him into a deeper way of believing, one that can trust in unseen blessings. The invitation is open to me too, whether my belief is steady and confident, or I long for reassurance and signs of divine presence. I trust I am divinely supported and dearly loved. From John 20:29. Jesus said to him, "Have you believed because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have come to believe."
To breathe into this presence and power, active in our hearts, our minds, our bodies, our emotions, active in our spirit, this presence and power, so great, so beautiful, transformative. As we breathe into this deeper knowing of consciousness, this deeper experience, we allow the presence and power to flow through us, as us, is us. As we breathe into this space, we remember who we are. We are created in the lightness and being of the presence and the power. We are created whole, complete, filled with love. We are created to be the light of the world. And as we sit in the stillness for just a moment, we allow the presence and power to radiate through us, as us, for us. And as we come back to this time and space, we are reminded that all is well, that all is perfect in this moment. And as we open our eyes and become aware of those around us, we are reminded of the love that we share, that we're surrounded in love, that we are a being of love. So I give thanks, Mother, Father, God, for this time and this space, to be in the stillness, to remember who I am, that I am love and I am light. And so it is, and now it is. Amen.
Reverend Robert gave me the talk title. I said, I think Karen Drucker wrote a song with that title. So I went to YouTube and put it in, and lo and behold, there it was. So a little research, I got the message and put it in my own key. It's called Lighten Up. I was walking down the street, I was feeling mighty fine, till I caught a glimpse of this belly of mine. There was a jiggle and a wiggle that I'd never seen before. As I looked a little closer, oh my God, it grew more. I freaked out and shrieked out and bumped my day, and then heard a voice inside me say, lighten up, don't take it seriously, lighten up, trust the mystery, lighten up. It doesn't matter anyway. Just enjoy your life and get out of your way. Just lighten up. Now I'm heading to a party to meet my friends. I'm dressed to the nine, man, I'm the living it. As I scope out the scene, it's obvious to me that the money at this party is simply obscene. I take out my actions, they talk about their yachts and drop in names. In an instant, I feel like we're falling ashamed. But as I try to make a beeline, slip out the door, I hear a voice inside me saying once more, lighten up, don't take it seriously, lighten up, trust the mystery, lighten up. It doesn't matter anyway, just enjoy your life, get out of your way, lighten up. Worrying and judging, what good does it do? When you compare yourself to me, I compare myself to you. The disease to please has just gotta go. When I love myself, that's all I need to know. So lighten up. So now I look in the mirror and more gray has appeared. Do I curse? Do I stress? It's the thing that I fear. Then I remember my new mantra and soon realize that I'm perfect with gray hair and this belly of mine. I don't have to change a thing, struggle and try, cause my real beauty comes from deep down inside. Lighten up, don't take it seriously. Lighten up, trust the mystery, lighten up. It doesn't matter anyway. Just enjoy your life and get out of your way. Lighten up, don't take it seriously. Lighten up, take the mystery, lighten up. It doesn't matter anyway. Just enjoy your life and get out of your way. Lighten up, lighten up, lighten up. Trust the mystery. It doesn't matter anyway. Just lighten up. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jack, for that song. That was the message. And so we can go home now, have a little fellowship and go home. And I hadn't heard the song before, so what a treat it is. Now, most of you know that I like to start out with a little bit of humor because my voice is so soft and I've been known to put people to sleep. And I don't mind that. I don't mind putting people to sleep because I don't think we get enough sleep. And I also believe that when you're asleep, you're probably going to retain a lot more in the subconscious than you would in the conscious life. So today, and as the story goes, a priest and a pastor stood near a sharp curve on a busy road holding signs. The priest's sign said, "The end is near. while the pastor warned, "Turn around before it's too late." And as he passed by, a jerk in a sports car yelled, "Idiots!" and shook his head and then blasted his horn and then raised one finger, and you can imagine which one, and stomped on the gas. Well, moments later, the clerics heard the sound of screeching tires, followed by a big splash. And the priest turned to the pastor and said, "Maybe we should change our signs to say the bridge is out." So have you ever noticed that as we get older, we start carrying things around that we don't need, or we think we're going to need and we never really use? Like an extra pair of reading glasses, or extra medications, or passwords, and emotional baggage from 1972. And what if one of the greatest spiritual practices isn't trying harder, it's carrying less? Our way shower, Jesus Christ, said in Matthew 11:28, "Come to me, all you that are weary and are carrying heavy burdens, and I will give you rest." Now notice Jesus didn't say, "I'll make you work harder." He said, "I will help you lay it down." God never created heaviness. Heaviness is created by our identification with fear and limitation, with resistance and separation. Spirit's always expressing as light and joy and freedom and creativity and love and peace. The spiritual journey is really less about adding something more and releasing all the stuff that we hold on to that keeps us from experiencing the joy. Jesus said in Luke 7:21, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." And he was telling us that heaven isn't outside of us. It's not a place or destination that we go to. It's our inner spiritual experience when nurtured, when peace and love and compassion and joy. And we know that it's not someday. It's not after therapy. It's not after retirement, but it's here now within as we choose it to be. Now, my Lighten Up experience or journey started in earnest in 1989. And I was working for a holistic center that put on big name productions, basically. We would put on 800 classes, workshops, seminars every year. And a lot of big names came to us, a lot of smaller names came to us. And that year we had produced a mind-body conference that had big names at the time. Norman Mailer, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and a young upstart named Deepak Chopra. And that was just among the many, many people were there. And I managed the bookstore for this organization. And I had to create a store, and I had to transport, check in, order, all those things, and then move 7,000 books, and then set up a store all in one day. Yeah. So I had lots of help. I didn't do it alone, although sometimes it felt that way. I had lots of help. But on the day of the move, on the day of setting up the store, what a storm, boy, that was a cycle. On that day, my body wasn't cooperating. A big flash of light happened before me, and I was momentarily blind, and I, fell back into a chair. And I'm sitting there, and I'm realizing, you are so stressed out. You don't even know how stressed out you are. And being conscious the whole time, I knew that I coped with stress, which meant really I didn't cope with stress. I just kept adding stress on more and more. And the irony of the experience wasn't lost on me. Here we were producing a mind-body conference, mind-body healing, and I was not participating in the way that one would want to participate in a mind-body conference. So I set up the store. It was a beautiful store. and for those attendees that came. And I was, the following week, I took a trip to Cape Cod with a friend, and we basically did nothing for several days, ate good foods and did nothing, lots of rest. And while I was there, I found this button that says Lighten Up. And I said, I must have this. And so I bought it and I put it on my jacket and I wore it for years. And it was interesting because people came up to me and would say, "Oh, I love your button." And I realized, well, they probably need the message too. We're those kindred souls where we realize we need to lighten up. So I've had many experiences since then to remind me to lighten up on the journey. And along the way, I've learned some ways to cope, and maybe not cope, but to thrive in the lightening up experience. And I'm going to share them with you. The first one is lighten your spirit. The soul naturally rises. Only only fear weighs it down. And sometimes spirituality becomes another burden. Have you ever heard yourself or someone say, I should meditate longer. I should pray more. I should love more. I should be more forgiving. And shooting on yourself is heavy, but giving yourself grace is light. At 94, Charles Fillmore said, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. Now, notice there is energy here, not strain. Spirituality should energize us, lift us up, not exhaust us. Emily Dickinson said, the soul should always stand ajar, ready to welcome the ecstatic experience. Now, another way to lighten up is to lighten your thinking. Thoughts have weight. Some thoughts float and some sink. Think about the mental backpack that we carry around, those thoughts that we carry around that says, I'll never, I'm too old, I'm not enough, they'll never change. And Charles Fillmore wrote in Revealing Word, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. How many of us know that and we say it often to ourselves, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. Heavy thoughts create heavy experiences. And unity invites us to be the gardeners of our thoughts. Not every thought deserves watering and fertilizer. So ask yourself, what thoughts have I been carrying around that has outlived its usefulness? Imagine placing that in God's hands. Another way to lighten up is to lighten your emotions. Remember, feelings are visitors. They were never meant to become permanent roommates. Even grief is sacred, but grief isn't intended to become our identity. Emotions are energy and they need movement. Tears and laughter, prayer and forgiveness, walking, conversation, music, movement. Remember, Jesus cried, and then he continued on to do the work. Daphne Rose Kingma wrote in The 10 Things to Do When Your Life Falls Apart, holding on is believing there is only a past. Letting go is knowing there is a future. Another way to lighten up is to lighten your lifestyle. So how many of us have overfilled calendars, overfilled closets, overfilled garages, overfilled minds? We become storage units with credit cards. Simple living creates spacious thinking. When we create outer simplicity, inner spaciousness follows. So what could you release this week? Could you release one commitment, one drawer, one obligation, one expectation? Lin Yutang wrote in The Importance of Living, besides the noble art of getting things done, is the noble art of leaving things undone. Another way to lighten up is to lighten your relationships. Now, relationships become heavy when we try to manage everybody's life. And one of the greatest freedoms is realizing that you don't have to attend every argument you've been invited to. And I'll repeat that for those of you who were sleeping. You don't have to attend every argument you've been invited to. So love people, release control, bless them, allow them their journey. Ernest Holmes wrote in The Science of Mind, love points the way and law makes the way possible. So love liberates, fear manipulates. So ask yourself, where have I confused carrying someone with loving someone? Now, another way to lighten up is to lighten up about yourself. And perhaps the greatest burden is perfectionism. Anyone have that disease? Yeah, there are support groups for that. Many of us are harder on ourselves than God has ever been. His Spirit isn't grading us. Spirit is growing us. Unity teaches that our divine identity is already whole. We're not unfolding, not fixing. No, we are unfolding. We are unfolding, but we're not fixing. We're unfolding to that higher consciousness, that deeper awareness of who and what we are, and how life works within us, how spirit works within us. And I love this quote by Elbert Hubbard, who said, do not take life too seriously. You'll never get out of it alive. So think about the the spiritual physics of light, the language we use, enlightenment, delightful, light-hearted, light bearer, light worker. The opposite of light isn't darkness, it's heaviness. And when consciousness becomes lighter, our experiences become brighter. So here's the illusion, or the illustration. Now, you've probably heard this one before, but imagine picking up a bowling ball and holding it for 10 seconds. That's not a problem usually. Imagine holding it for 10 minutes. Well, your arm's going to begin to ache, especially depending on the weight of the bowling ball. And after 1 hour, you'd be miserable. And the problem isn't the weight. The problem is refusing to put it down. Many of us are emotionally holding bowling balls from years ago. So 3 practices this week. Every morning, ask yourself, what can I release today? And throughout the day, ask, am I making this heavier than it needs to be? And before bed, ask, what am I carrying into tomorrow that belongs to yesterday? Another way to lighten up, and probably my favorite, is to lighten up with humor. One of the surest signs that we have become too serious is that we've forgotten how to laugh, and laugh often. So ever notice that children, they don't schedule laughter. They don't put it on their calendars or their time for between 2 and 2:15 that they're going to laugh. They simply discover something delightful and they laugh from their toes. And somewhere along the way, many adults began believing that maturity means seriousness. But I don't think that's what Spirit intended. Humor doesn't deny life's pain. It keeps the pain from becoming the whole story. And sometimes the humor also is necessary within the pain. It gives us a perspective. You ever notice you find yourself laughing at something that's very painful, but you start laughing at the absurdity of it? I remember, I've worked with a lot of terminally ill people when I worked for hospice. And I remember people who would be talking very seriously, very tenderly about something, and then they would just start laughing because it was so absurd. And it just struck them so funny. And I thought, it's really great. It's really great that you're at the laughter stage, that you can understand this. as the process of life. There's a wonderful proverb often attributed to the Irish tradition. A good laugh and a long sleep are the best cures in the doctor's book. And I agree with that because I love to sleep too. So laughing and sleeping, that's the way to live. And laughter relaxes the body. It softens the heart. It interrupts that fearful thinking. It reminds us that our problems are rarely as large as our imagination makes them. The book of Proverbs says, a cheerful heart is a good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. And modern research has caught up with that ancient wisdom. Laughter reduces stress hormones. It boosts endorphins. It supports immune function. And it strengthens relationships. Sometimes the holiest thing we can do is to share a genuine laugh. Now, I suspect God has a wonderful sense of humor because God is us, and our humor is that light of God that's in the world. But have you ever noticed how funny it is when a kitten or a puppy chases its tail? Or ever watched an episode of Golden Girls? It's funny. It makes us laugh. Creation itself seems to delight in surprise and joy. And as writer Gilbert Chesterton observed, angels can fly because they take themselves lightly. Isn't that a beautiful spiritual image? I love that. We don't rise because life becomes lighter. We rise because we stop ourselves from making life so heavy. There was a story about a little boy who was walking with his grandfather after church, and he asked, "Grandpa, does God ever laugh?" And his grandfather smiled and said, "Well, of course." And the boy said, "Well, how do you know?" And the grandpa replied, "Because every time I forget to be happy, God puts a funny person in my path." And that may be one way the Spirit saves us, not by removing the heavy burdens, but by reminding us that we're not there to carry it alone. Now, the last way I want to share with you today how to lighten up is rediscover the sacredness of play. Play isn't just for children. It is the nourishment for our souls. Now, some of us can remember exactly when we stopped playing. Instead, we became productive, responsible, efficient. We traded curiosity for calendars. Yet play awakens creativity and wonder and possibility. It reminds us that life is more than just a list of things to accomplish. Jesus often pointed out to children as our teacher. He said in Mark 10:15, "Whosoever does not receive the kingdom of God as a little child will never enter it." So what qualities was he inviting us to have as we enter that kingdom of heaven? Wonder and curiosity, trust, imagination, and delight. Those are the qualities of play. Dr. Stuart Brown, the founder of the National Institute for Play, and yes, there is such a thing as the National Institute for Play, claims that play is healthy for our bodies, our minds, and our souls. He says the opposite of play is not work. The opposite of play is depression. And that's a remarkable insight because play isn't a luxury. It's part of our emotional and spiritual well-being. So I have an assignment for you this week. Do something with absolutely no productive outcome. None. Walk on the beach, blow bubbles, color with crayons, dance in the kitchen, chair dance in the kitchen, fly a kite, sing in the car when no one's watching, or especially when someone's watching. Because life is too sacred to only become a series of obligations. And perhaps the deepest spiritual practice isn't becoming more solemn. Perhaps it's becoming more alive. laugh more, play more, forgive more quickly, wonder more often, dance when the music moves you, smile at strangers, marvel at sunsets, delight in children, pet the dog, all the dogs, tell the joke, celebrate ordinary Tuesdays. Because when we lighten our spirit with laughter, lighten our minds with truth, lighten our hearts with forgiveness, and lighten our lives with play, we become more available to the presence that's always been able to try to express itself through us. As Ernest Holmes wrote, life is a mirror and will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into it. So let us think joy. Choose joy, share joy, and above all, lighten up. You may discover that what you've been seeking isn't waiting at the end of the journey. It was waiting for you to enjoy the journey. And so it is. Amen.
Let's sing these wonderful words together.
Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Welcome to life, we're glad you are here, glad you can join in the dance. It will be easy and it will be fun, why don't you give it a chance? Say yes,
Yes,
say yes,
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 ah yes,
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 yes.
yes, 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 yes. Life is a dance, any way you look at it, all of our life is a dance. Choose your own partner and pick the right song. Come on and join in the dance. I know that life is a dance, taking what comes and giving your all. There are rewards for this, and what I become is in my command. I am whatever I wish. Say yes,
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 ah yes,
Ah, yes,
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 yes.
yes,
Yes, yes, yes, yes. Life is a dance, any way you look at it, all of our life is a dance. Choose your own partner and pick the right song. Come on and join in the dance. I know that life is a dance. Come on and join in the dance. Say yes.
yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Join us on Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m. at the Carlsbad Senior Center, 799 Pine Avenue. Have a blessed week and hope to see you there.